अस्सलाम वालेकुम। प्रोग्राम एम्बेसी रोड में खुश आमदीद। नाज़रीन, आज हमारे मेज़बान हैं इस प्रोग्राम में पाकिस्तान में जनूबी कोरिया के सफ़ीर जो चुंग जोई, और हम उनसे बात करेंगे पाकिस्तान और जनूबी कोरिया के ताल्लुकात के हवाले से और मुस्तकबिल में पाकिस्तान और जनूबी कोरिया के दरमियान ताल्लुकात की क्या नोयत हो सकती है। Ambassador, thank you for joining us in this program.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Ambassador, Pakistan and Korea have a long history of diplomatic relations between the two. As the story goes, that back in 60s when General Ayub Khan was the ruler of Pakistan, he was the president, and Pakistan was doing very well in the field of industry and economics. Then South Korea sent a team of economic experts to Pakistan to learn from Pakistan's experience. Is this story correct?
Well, I'm hearing from many of your colleagues that we have learned, so to speak, economic development model from your country, and I believe it's quite true because I'm hearing from several quarters and many people.
Master, what's the secret of Korea's phenomenal economic success in the last 40 years? Because immediately after the independence of South Korea was suffering from a lot of economic problems, but now it is one of the economic giants of Asia.
Well, I'm asked by many other Pakistani local people about our success of economic development. And whenever I asked such question, my response is that we were really desperate. During the devastation of Korean War, we were just had nothing. Most infrastructure was destroyed, and let alone human casualties. But that's why we concentrated our efforts on education, human resources development. As you know, Korea, compared to Pakistan, we don't have any natural resources. We are not rich enough
natural resources.
So, only thing we can depend on is human resources development, and our successive leaders continue to invest a huge amount of resources on this education and human resources development. That's one major factor which can explain our economic success.
Which other factors were contributing or contributed towards the economic progress, impressive economic progress by South Korea?
And another factor would be our very aggressive, so to speak, external policy. As you know, we are a very small country with little endowment in natural resources, so we had no choice but to open up our economy. And so we aimed at increasing our trade and overseas investment. So government as well as private sector pursued very aggressively this external, outward-oriented policy. So nowadays, although we are a small country, all other our partners, certainly including Pakistan, is our potential market. So it succeeded quite remarkably, in pursuing our outward-looking, outward-oriented policy.
Ambassador, are you satisfied with the level of trade relations between South Korea and Pakistan? And do you want to do something more to expand these relations, and also tell our viewers what are the prospects for expanding the trade relations between Pakistan and South Korea?
Very good and very important question. Of course, we are not happy with this present record and present standing. Our trade volumes simply, below our potential. We are trading with Pakistan, just over $1 billion a day, Sorry, just 1 billion
a
year, while we are doing trade with India over 16 billion. Of course, Pakistan is a smaller country, but nevertheless, Pakistan is a hugely, a potentially important country for Korea. So I hope to be able to reach double this figure in my tenure. By 2014, this trade figure would be reaching a double. If we deploy our joint efforts, government as well as private sectors as well.
Have you already identified the areas in which Pakistan and South Korea can work together, can have joint ventures, or Korea is keen to invest in Pakistan? Which are those sectors?
Well, in principle, I'm very optimistic because, as you know, Korea is rich with high technology and capital, while Pakistan is at the moment very much resource-oriented, and moreover, you have very excellent pool of human resources. So I would like to define our economic relations as very complementary to benefit from each other by combining these mutual advantages. So I see a huge potential in all possible areas of our economic interaction. But at the moment, we are focusing on energy, petrochemical, infrastructure, etc. But as you suggested, there's a huge, more broader spectrum of areas awaiting our joint collaboration.
You have mentioned energy. Energy is a very important sector. Pakistan is suffering from energy shortage. How could South Korea help Pakistan to overcome this energy shortage in Pakistan?
Well, at the moment, we are, as Korean construction companies, in collaboration with Korea Water Resource Management Society, is actively participating and also exploring the future opportunities here. And again, here, Korean advanced technology in hydro and thermal energy production could help solve your energy shortage problem here.
Hydropower is, of course, one of the important areas where Pakistan can be helped by South Korea. But there are other alternatives also, alternative sources of energy. So are you focusing on those areas as well?
Mm-hmm. That's right. More recently, we had some Korean companies have shown their interest in participating in solar and wind power energy here. So again, in this area, as you are rich with in alternative energy resources like solar and wind power, I foresee a very bright prospect in this area as well for our joint collaboration. So.
Korea had invested in Pakistan earlier in late 90s, and Korea built this motorway in Pakistan, one of the major projects, a landmark of friendship between South Korea and Pakistan. Then there was no big investment in Pakistan after that. What is the reason for that?
There may be several reasons. As you know, we also suffered from economic setback, in the wake of financial, so to speak, financial crisis back in 1998. So I think that there was some lull period, for our overseas economic activities, but nowadays we are coming again. As economic situation stabilize, and more importantly, as your security situation is getting better, more and more Korean companies may be interested in this area and in this country in particular.
So investor security is the only factor which hampers the investment of South Korea and Pakistan, or there are other factors as well, the congenial atmosphere for investment in Pakistan. And do the South Korean investors think that their investment is fully protected in Pakistan?
Very good question. It's true that some of our Korean existing investors are having some trouble or difficulty in investment activities here. I mean, I cannot go to the detail because of time constraint, but related to your question, I am always stressing to your leadership and to your Pakistani business community that it's very important to protect existing investors and their interest, because that will send a very powerful and positive signal to Korean potential investors here. So depending on the effort and attention by your government and your business community, that we will be able to expect some more stronger and more active investment activities coming out.
So what would you like the government of Pakistan to do to create a more better environment for Korean investment in Pakistan? What kind of changes you contemplate or you want the government of Pakistan to do so that the level of the South Korean investment in Pakistan goes up?
Well, in response to your good suggestion, I may respond like this. I mean, on federal level, we need more consistent policy in terms of protecting and safeguarding the existing investors' interest. And on local level, we would like to see a very amicable local environment, to expedite or facilitate a process of investment decided by before. I mean, if there is a trouble or mismanagement at local administrative level, I mean, the actual preparation cannot go ahead. So I would like to see more active involvement or facilitatory effort by the local government, provincial government, to help solve the troubles or problems faced by our investors.
We'll continue this discussion, Ambassador. नाज़रीन, एक मुख्तसर ब्रेक लेते हैं और ब्रेक से वापसी के बाद हम पाकिस्तान में जनूबी कोरिया के सफ़ीर से मज़ीद गुफ्तगू करेंगे और इस बात का जायज़ा लेंगे कि पाकिस्तान और जनूबी कोरिया के जो सियासी ताल्लुकात हैं और मुख्तलिफ इश्यूज़ पर उनके दरमियान क्या इत्तफ़ाक़ राय है या इख्तलाफ है, ये हम मालूम करने की कोशिश करेंगे. वेलकम बैक. हमारी गुफ्तगू हो रही है पाकिस्तान में जनूबी कोरिया के सफीर से. एम्बेसडर, पाकिस्तान एंड साउथ कोरिया हैव बीन हैविंग cooperation in the economic field, in the field of commerce and trade. How about the political relations between the two countries? How do you look at these relations?
Well, as you know very well, Pakistan is a major player in Southeast Asia, while Korea is one of the major players in Northeast Asia. So if we continue to work together, I mean, on combining our synergy, I mean, we will create a lot of beneficial relations. One prominent feature of this collaboration is at the UN. We belong to the same group, so-called UFC, United for, sorry, I forgot the abbreviation, but we are working on the same agenda for the same goal. This is a typical example of our international collaboration. And on bilateral relations, there is no doubt that we are keeping a very close relations, by sharing common ideas of freedom, democracy, world stability, So we are presently maintaining a very good relations in this political bilateral relations. And I hope that this trend will continue as we share the common ideal of freedom and democracy.
Ambassador, Pakistan is playing a very important role in the war against terror. It's very close to Afghanistan, where the war on terror is being fought, where the NATO and the US troops are present. Pakistan is paying a very big price for that. How do you look at Pakistan's role in the war against terror?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that Pakistan is suffering as a result of this tragic war, which has been lasting for quite some time. And many of our Korean people are very sympathetic to your situation, whereby you are sort of forced to play a role of frontline state in this war against terror. So we are, I would like to tell you that we are a member of Friends of Democratic Pakistan. So as a member of this important international forum of FODP, we are actively supporting your development, your socio-economic development.
You mentioned FODP, Friends of Democratic Pakistan. Some Pakistanis believe that FODP has not done much and not contributed much towards the development of Pakistan, although Pakistan has lost a lot in terms of its economic growth during this war against terror. So Pakistanis expect that the Friends of Democratic Pakistan should come forward in a big way and help Pakistan overcome its problems. Do you agree to this?
Certainly. I heard that there are some criticism or a negative view, as you said, about this FODP forum. But please understand that this FODP, Friends of Democratic Pakistan, from the outset, it was formed as a political forum to give political boost to your country. You mentioned some substantial or economic support in the process of your economic development, but more than that, we need to, your political leadership also insisting that you need to have some political and moral support from the international community like FODP. So I see no doubt in this strong importance of FODP's role in morally and politically supporting Pakistan and Pakistani government and Pakistani people in this difficult and challenging game of war on terror.
But what about the economic help that Pakistan needs at this moment? Pakistan's economy has suffered hugely, and some of our economists are claiming that Pakistan has lost $60 billion in this war against terror. So they expect the international community to compensate Pakistan on this count. So that's why, some frustration is being expressed by our economists, by our political circles, that the international community has not come that way to help Pakistan.
On a political level, again, I may repeat that the FODP is a central forum for rendering this precious political support. But on development assistant level, of course, Korea, as a strong member of FODP, is providing a substantial amount of development aid in various forms, In our case, Korea has decided to provide development aid amounting to $200 million for 3 years. So we are in collaboration or cooperation with other donor countries, we are doing our part to help you achieve some economic objectives and development goals in this country.
Pakistan also needs a lot of help in the field of in social sector, in education, in health, and the international community, a country like South Korea. What can you do to improve the social sector, education and health in Pakistan?
I agree that, as you mentioned, this social or economic development should go in parallel with software development like education, health, and environment. That's why our ODA, Official Development Assistance, is grant aid. It's not
loans.
It's not loan. I mean, it's a grant aid. We are focusing on these three main areas: education, environment, and public health or sanitation, which are of great importance to your socio-economic development. I mean, our grant aid, our official development assistance is focusing on these key areas of education, health, and environment. So we are going in parallel with.
Right. Can you mention some major projects in Pakistan which have been given grant for the construction or for the development?
As I mentioned, we recently inaugurated a Garments Training Institute in Karachi in the presence of your Federal Minister of Textile. Of course, I attended the tape cutting ceremony. That's the most latest example of our cooperation. And we are also planning to build a hospital in Multan, a general hospital, which may greatly help the local medical situation in that region. And also we are in the process of preparing some projects related to water management system, sewage treatment system, wastewater treatment system in Punjab and Islamabad, So that will be more visible, next year when we will have a firm program for the year 2012.
Water is a very important issue in Pakistan because we are hearing from the experts that the water table is going down constantly in Pakistan. Also, the water consumption is rising in Pakistan. And the good management, water management is not there. So how could South Korea lend a helping hand to Pakistan to actually manage its water resources in a better way?
So apart from this, our effort aimed at improving your water management or water resources management, I'm thinking of a sort of MOU, Memorandum Understanding, between Korean Water Resources Company. It's a public company. It's an equivalent to Waqt, your country. So I'm glad to tell you that we are making some progress in reaching the agreement between K-Water and Waqt. And I hope that with this MOU in place, that will provide some institutional framework within which we can proceed to cooperate in this important area of water management between Waqt and K-Water.
Master, Pakistan and India both are neighboring countries, but they have very tense relations as well. You know that. One of the reasons of this tension, apart from the Kashmir issue, is the water issue, because Pakistan and India have this Indus Water Treaty between themselves, but Pakistan thinks that it is not being implemented in letter and spirit. How does South Korea look at it?
It's a very difficult question because I'm not an expert, but what I know is that this Indus Treaty was concluded a very long time ago. So
in 1960s.
1960, almost half a century ago. So personally, I think that it's time to rethink about adapting this treaty with the amicable agreement or compromise to reflect the changes in technology and situation. So I'm hopeful that you may be able to reach some understanding with the Indian authorities or Indian government to to reflect this, to change the reality.
Thank you. We'll have to take another break. नाज़रीन एक और मुख्तसर ब्रेक लेते हैं और ब्रेक से वापसी के बाद हम पाकिस्तान में जनूबी कोरिया के सफीर से मजीद गुफ्तगू जो है वो जारी रखेंगे. Welcome back. Ambassador, you mentioned that Pakistan and India can manage the problem of water dispute between themselves. Do you think that the international community should come forward to help these two countries to overcome these difficulties by providing them technology, if possible, so that this mistrust is no longer there?
Well, again, I'm not an expert on this issue or topic, but as far as I know, one of the best option would be to try to attempt to solve between the authorities concerned. But of course, the Korean government or Korean authorities are more than ready to come forward if we are solicited by both sides. I mean, so we are ready to intervene or help in whatever manner or whatever form, on condition that we are solicited from your side.
Another issue is the wastage of water. A lot of water from Pakistani rivers is going into the ocean, and water is not being managed in a proper way. So how could Korea, you mentioned that some of the Korean companies are ready to help Pakistan, but South Korea has developed technology to manage water resources in a better way. How could South Korea help Pakistan to basically stop the wastage of this water?
Well, we are very conscious of the importance of water resources management in this country. I mean, I know that you have a very abundant with water resources, but I heard that, I know that it's not well managed now. So that's why, back to our topic of possible cooperation between K-Water and Waqt. I mean, once this cooperation mechanism set up in place, I'm very hopeful that this cooperation certainly include how to effectively conserve, water resources, preventing more wasteful leakages. That aspect will certainly be a very important cooperation item between K-Water and your counterpart Waqt.
Pakistan's railway is in very bad shape. You know that, you've been reading stories about it, and this railway has deteriorated to an extent that almost the entire railway service has come to a standstill. South Korea has a rich experience of running a very efficient railway system in your own country. How could Korea help Pakistan get out of this crisis?
Again, in this area of railway transportation, I'm very happy to report to your the viewers that some progress is being made. For possible cooperation between Korea Railway Corporation and your counterpart in Pakistan. So I know that there are some exchange of visits and expert and specialist level again, already. In due course, I believe that they will be able to produce some sort of a document and paperwork, to finalize the form of cooperation.
Ambassador, Pakistan and South Korea, there are chances, there are prospects for a new concept of build, operate and transfer. In many countries, this idea is being practiced. So is South Korea ready to go about this? They are ready to build, operate and transfer so many other mega projects in Pakistan. You feel secure to invest in BOT projects?
Exactly. for good or for bad, I mean, we all know that your government is suffering from deficit or lack of financial resources, budgetary terms, So that's why many Korean companies, especially construction companies engaged in infrastructure development, they are very interested in the notion of BOT. So presently, one Korean company is actively engaged in the hydro dam project in Patrin on the basis of this BOT.
In Azad Kashmir.
Azad Kashmir, correct. And also one Korean construction company is building a highway between Karachi and Hyderabad on a BOT basis as well. I mean, as you suggested, this BOT notion is getting very popular among Korean companies who are interested in participating in the economic projects here.
The motorway that was built initially between Islamabad and Lahore was built by South Korean companies. So this was also on the on concept of BOT.
Correct.
And so after completing this big project, what is your experience? Are you encouraged to invest more in Pakistan?
Well, as you mentioned, this motorway between Lahore and Islamabad is a very important connection. I mean, between your center of economic activity and the capital. So, hopefully in the foreseeable future, I mean, your government may come up with more specific proposal, I mean, regarding this possible link, I mean, among major cities like Karachi, Islamabad, or Karachi, Lahore. Of course, there exists existing so-called GT road, but as your economic development progress, I believe that that GT connection is not enough. So I hope that a more concrete plan, I mean, to link other cities where Korean companies could be a very productive partner.
Auto industry is another area where South Korea is keen to come into Pakistani market. What does your experience tell you, your companies, about this area?
Well, at the moment, Hyundai, one of our largest car manufacturing group, is now exporting parts, only parts. We call complete CKD, complete knockdown basis. So your local partners simply assembled these parts to produce. As you mentioned, in the near future, in view of a huge potential of car market here, I'm insisting to my Hyundai people back home that they need to be more proactive in establishing themselves here. So let's see how they will respond. But at my level, I'm always stressing the importance of local presence here.
What about the deletion program? I mean, the transfer of technology. One of the important factors to industrialize some country is that you allow the local producers to delete parts of automobile inside country. But unfortunately, there are so many foreign companies operating in the field of automobiles who have not been able to fully support Pakistan to create a base, industrial base inside the country in the auto sector. Mm-hmm. Can South Korea go a step forward and does that?
Well, I am not authorities directly concerned in this possible transfer of technology, but with proper mechanism for intellectual property or with proper benefit sharing mechanism in place, I don't foresee any difficulty in even contemplating such a type of collaboration. I mean, going beyond simply, assembling parts here.
Which is used in the construction of roads, in cutting earth, and that kind of machinery is being produced by South Korea. So can Korea be a partner with Pakistan on producing such big machinery, road rollers and other kinds of huge machinery, caterpillars, etc.?
What a good idea. I mean, I see as your economic progress is well on the way, I mean, as your demand for infrastructure or infrastructure construction increases, I mean, there is naturally, I see natural tendency for Korean companies to look at more seriously growing market for this construction equipment as well.
थैंक यू मिस्टर नाज़रीन, आज आपने हमारे साथ गुफ्तगू सुनी है पाकिस्तान में जनूबी कोरिया के सफ़ीर की, और उन्होंने पाकिस्तान और जनूबी कोरिया के दरमियान माशी और तजारती ताउन के अलावा उन्होंने दहशतगर्दी के खिलाफ जंग के हवाले से भी गुफ्तगू की है। उन्होंने बताया कि फ्रेंड्स ऑफ डेमोक्रेटिक पाकिस्तान में जनूबी कोरिया बहुत अहम किरदार अदा कर रहा है, और उन्होंने वो तमाम तर एरियाज़ या तमाम उन गोशों की निशानदेही की है जिनमें पाकिस्तान और साउथ ताउन कर सकते हैं, इक्तिसादी तौर पर एक दूसरे का हाथ बटा सकते हैं। इसी के साथ ये प्रोग्राम खत्म होता है। जावेद सिद्दीक को इजाजत दीजिए। खुदा हाफिज़।